right, this lesson is completely about one of my favorite things on the planet, and that is Gemdas. Also known as PEMDAS. The reason I'm calling it Gemdas is because as you get into later grades, they will call it Gemdas. So it's easier for me to show you information that will actually help you in the long run. So let's start first. Let me write on here, order of operations. And let's start with the vocabulary. So we're going to start with the vocabulary word. Expression is the first word, expression. And that is a part of a number sentence with no equal sign. Part of a number sentence with no equal sign. Okay, so here is an example of an expression. 4 plus 7. Again, you notice it doesn't say 4 plus 7 equals something. An expression is really just a number sentence with no equal sign. If it has an equal sign, it's called an equation. So an equation is a number sentence with an equal sign. But we're going to be talking about expressions. And then the other thing that you need to know is operation. If you want to know the order of operations, I guess you need to know what an operation is. And an operation is really just something you do in math. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Oops, and division. So, in this expression 4 plus 7, addition is the operation. In this expression, 7 minus 3, subtraction is the operation. And if we did 4 times 4, multiplication would be our operation. And in a fraction like 3 over 7, or 7 over 3, or 7 divided by 3, division is the operation. All right, so when you work an expression that has more than one operation, you have to use the order of operations so that you know what to do first. With Gemdas, let's talk about what each one of these letters stands for. All right. The G stands for groupings. Groupings. If we did this with a P instead of a G, it would stand for parentheses. But when we do groupings, we talk about parentheses, braces, and brackets. These are different ways to show groupings in math. If you did P, it would just be for parentheses. All right. The E. The E stands for exponents. You won't have a whole lot of exponents to deal with right away, but remember that an exponent is the little thing that tells us how many times we multiply a number by itself. And so let's say our number is 4 to the power of 4. Remember that the larger number is our base, and this smaller number is our exponent. We dealt with that in scientific notation. And the exponent tells us how many times we would multiply 4. And so this would actually be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And again, we're not going to deal with a whole lot of exponents right off the bat, so don't stress about that. Then we do multiplication from left to right. And division from left to right. And you will often see the M and the D grouped together for Gemdas and for PEMDAS. And then last but not least, you have addition and subtraction. And again, we're moving from left to right. I guess I didn't need that extra S there, but that's okay. This mnemonic device helps us remember the order of operations, the order in which we complete the operations in an expression. All right, so now that we know what Gemdas is, what does it look like when we're actually working with an expression? So I have an example for you. So we're going to start with 7 times parentheses 5 plus 4. All right, so we're going to start out with what is in parentheses. So Gemdas says groupings, that's parentheses, braces, and brackets. 5 plus 4 is 9. So we're going to write this as 7 times 9. Notice that as I work, I'm working vertical. So this shows me I've dealt with the 5 and the 4 already. Okay, 5 plus 4 is 9. I move that down and I move my 7 times down. I don't have any exponents in this problem, but I do have to multiply. 7 times 9 is 63, so my answer is 63. If we were going to write this out side by side, we would say that 7 times 5 plus 4 equals, and let me show you what that would look like. 7 times 5 plus 4 equals 7 times 9 equals 63. All right? So, we didn't have any division that we needed to do. We didn't have any addition and subtraction. If for some reason you don't have multiplication, you can skip multiplication and go on to division. It's just that you're doing them in the order that you have them. So don't be afraid if you don't have an exponent to move on, or if you don't have parentheses to start with your multiplication and division. All right, so let's look at another example. Let me see, I'm scrolling on down. Let's do some that don't have any parentheses. So let's do 6 plus 8 times 2. Okay? With this example, we don't have any groupings. We don't have any exponents, but we do have some multiplication. So we're going to go in and do the multiplication first because that's what comes next in our order of operations. This part right here is our multiplication. So I'm going to bring down my 6 plus because I know I'm going to add something to it. And then I will... Sorry about that. I actually had to stop my dog from eating a Christmas ornament. So, but I'm going to keep going because we're already 3 minutes in. So I bring down my 6 plus. I have to do the 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. So now I can go on because I've done my multiplication. There's no division. Now I can do my addition. So looking at 6 plus 16, if you need to write it like this to make it easier for you, you can. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. And so we have 22, which I'm going to actually bring that answer down here, 22. Now I am finished with that expression. All right, let's try another one. Let's do 4 divided by 2 times 15 divided by 3. Divided by 3. And I'm going to write Gemdas over in the corner so that I can see it. Gemdas. And I'm going to walk through this first. Because multiplication and division are equal, we can go from left to right. Remember on Gemdas, we said we can go from left to right. So we've got multiplication and division that we're working on. So let's start with 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 15 divided by 3 because we continue to bring the components of our expression down. Now we go on and do 2 times 15. 2 times 15 is 30, and then we bring the components of our expression down. So it's going to be 30 divided by 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10, so the answer to our expression is 10. We have no further operations to do in Gemdas. All right, so our final example is 9 plus 5 times 4 plus 6. So what happens if we have more than one operation in our parentheses? Well, we have to look at the operations. We have multiplication on one side and addition. Multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction in Gemdas. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out in here. We know that 5 times 4 is 20 plus 6. So we bring down the other components of our expression. Then we go ahead and go on with 20 plus 6. 20 plus 6 is 26. So then we bring down the 9. 9 plus 26. 9 plus 26 is 1 less than 10 plus 26. So that would be 36, 35. 35 is our answer. Again, multiplication and division always outrank addition and subtraction. And let's look at an example where you actually have an exponent, just so you can see what that would look like. Let's do 4 to the second power plus 5 times 3 minus 10. So according to Gemdas, we're going to do our groupings first. Our grouping is this 5 times 3, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we're going to go 4 to the second power plus 15 minus 10. Okay, if we have done our groupings first, the next thing we need to do is our exponents. So our exponent is going to be the same as 4 times 4 plus 15 minus 10. So 4 times 4 is 16 plus 15 minus 10. Notice that each time I do something to my expression, I'm bringing it down so I can see step by step what happened. I just dealt with the exponents. Now I'm going to deal with multiplication and division. It doesn't look like I have any multiplication or division in this one. And so now I need to deal with the addition and the subtraction. 16 plus 15 is 31 minus 10 is 21. So I have worked all the way through groupings, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction, and I have my answer. You may come up with something that is similar to this, but with fractions. Again, you have to know how to do fractions to be able to do this process. So we have to put Gemdas over here in the corner. And let's just go with the example of maybe 1/3 times 3/4 plus 1/6. All right, I know that I can do my multiplication and division, or my multiplication with my fractions very quickly because I don't have to change the denominators. So I don't have any groupings. I'm making my own grouping for the multiplication and division. So I'm going to multiply these fractions, and I'm going to get 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 4 is 12. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of my expression. So then I get 3/12 plus 1/6. In doing this, I am just going to go ahead and find my least common denominator. Was that once we get our LCD for 12 and 6, and we get an equivalent fraction, then we can do the addition. So the way that we get the LCD is by listing the multiples of 6 and 12. The multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, and we could keep going on. And now we're going to do 12s. It's 12, 24, 36. Remember that we're looking for the least common denominator, the least common denominator. So we're looking for the two numbers that 6 and 12 share that is the lowest. For this specific problem, 12 is going to be our least common denominator. We don't have to do anything with this fraction. It's fine because it already has 12 as a denominator. But we do need to make this an equivalent. We need to find an equivalent fraction that has 12ths as the denominator. So when we look at that, we're going to look at 1/6. What do we have to multiply 6 by to get to 12? Well, we have to multiply 6 times 2. Anything that we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So our numerator is going to be 1 times 2, which is going to give us 2/12. Now we can actually add 3/12 plus 2/12. When we do that, the only thing that changes is our numerator, and we end up with 5/12. If we needed to simplify, this would be the time to do it. However, we don't need to simplify for this specific one because there is nothing that 5 can be divided by that 12 can also be divided by except for 1. And remember that we're not going to divide by 1 to find that equivalent fraction, because all it's going to end up being would be 5/12. All right, we're going to stop here. Thank you very much.